Hey everyone, it's Kevin here, or Madhatted as I go by on Magic Online and Twitch when I stream, but today I'm going to be doing a deck tech and daily event with this Dredgevine deck. Now for those of you who don't know, this list, very similar to this list, just won the Modern Festival of Magic Online, which was the big Modern event they were doing to promote Modern. Basically the winner got like a playset of every set that was legal in Modern, so like the prize was huge, so you know it was one of the biggest Modern events there probably has been on Magic Online, and it was taken down by a Dredgevine deck, which has been completely out of left field in terms of the Modern metagame. Golgari Grave Troll was a card that was banned in Modern for a long time. It got unbanned just before the last Modern Pro Tour. It hasn't really been seeing too much play until like very recently. There's always been like one or two decks here and there, but they never looked that good or were that consistent for, for whatever reason they weren't good in the metagame. But this Dredgevine deck has been able to utilize it and was able to take down a huge event. So for those of you who don't know how this deck works, Golgari Grave Troll Dredge 6 basically means whenever you would draw a card, instead you can dredge, and dredge means discard the top cards of your library. So for Dredge 6, it means instead of drawing a card, you would discard the top 6 cards of your library, and you put Grave Troll from your graveyard back into your hand. So Grave Troll has to be in the graveyard to dredge, basically. And basically what you want to do is be able to play cards like Grave Troll, which dredge 6, Extinct Imp dredges 5, dredging 3 off of Life of the Loam, and dredging 3 off of Dark Blast. And you want to be able to put these cards in the graveyard, and then be able to utilize the dredging by having cards that they're good when you're in your graveyard, or ways to use your graveyard as a resource. So one of the main ways is Vengevine, is that if Vengevine's in your graveyard and you cast 2 creature spells, then you can return it to play, and it's a haste 4/3 attacker, which is pretty strong. There's other things like casting Delve cards like Gurmag Angler or Murderous Cut. There's flashback spells in the graveyard like Ancient Grudge, Gnaw of the Bone. There's Gravecrawler, which can also be played from your graveyard if you have a zombie in play. So the main engine, or the main thing this deck does, is play Vengevines and Gravecrawlers from your graveyard. So typically what you do is you have ways to put the Dredgers in your graveyard, put the Vengevines, or put Gravecrawlers in your graveyard, like Faithless Looting, which is draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards, Golgari, or Lawless Troll, sorry, that can discard a creature card, put counters on it. Rats, each player discards a card, you can unearth it too, so Unearth lets you play it from the graveyard. Another kind of synergy little thing there. And then there's Lightning Axes, which make you discard a card to pay for the cost. So these cards that are not usually the best, they become a lot better because you can actually utilize putting cards in your graveyard. Like I said, the main combo is you either play an Angler, or play a Lawless Troll, or play Murder King, like some zombie, and then you cast Gravecrawlers from your graveyard. And if you cast 2 creature spells in one turn, you get to return all the Vengevines in your graveyard. So say I put Gurmag Angler into play, and then I cast a Gravecrawler from my graveyard. That's 2 creature spells, and I can return maybe 3 Vengevines I have in my graveyard, which is very powerful. That puts 12 haste power on the board, and that's nothing to stare at. It's quick clock. This deck does a lot of things in general, but basically the best thing you want to be doing is like putting multiple Vengevines into play, and basically killing people really quickly with that. It tries to do the same thing every game, basically, same strategy, but it also plays, 5/5. Gurmag Angler can be played very cheaply, but probably most of the time for 1 mana, because you can put cards in your graveyard. You can make giant Lawless Trolls that are hard to kill. You can, get people with, like, Murder King long games, where you can keep on sacrificing your Gravecrawlers and keep on putting them back into play because you have zombies. There's a lot of different things this deck does, basically. But where this deck kind of fits in the metagame is that it's this kind of mid-rangey deck that is very good at beating up other mid-rangey decks. It's very good at beating the Grixis controls, the Jund decks, the Junk decks, stuff like that. It's even good against any sort of aggressive deck that's a little slower, because it's very good at trading 1-for-1. Because, if you want a Lightning Bolt of Vengevine, then play, well, then I just need to cast my Gravecrawlers, then they come back. Or, if you kill my Gravecrawler, I can return them back if I have zombies. Lawless Troll is like a creature that's very hard to kill for a lot of decks. Basically, it's just very good at beating fair strategies. For the unfair strategies, like say like combo decks, it's a little bit weaker, so that's why we have more duresses in sideboard. We have the stuff for Splinter Twin, like we have Abrupt Decay's main, Lightning Axes, Murderous Cuts. I would say that most of this removal is because you want to be able to have game against the Splinter Twin combo. But basically, this deck tries to abuse the fact that this metagame has kind of been moving towards this like Jund versus Grixis kind of thing. Those are like some of the top tier decks right now. You know, cards like decks like Affinity, you bring in Ancient Grudges for. Decks like Burn, you bring in Knot of the Bones for. So you try and have answers to. Sorry about that. I try to have answers to these aggressive decks. You know, all like the 4 Duresses are for combo decks, stuff like that. You know, Spellskite's also for Splinter Twin and Mono Red and a few other decks. But basically, this deck is trying to take advantage of the fact that there's not much graveyard hate in the format right now. In terms of like Rest in Peace or Leyline of the Voids. So because people aren't playing that, this deck can, you know, flourish basically. I would say that this is a metagame call. If this deck were to become like very popular in the future, then it becomes worse because people playing Leyline of the Voids and Rest in Pieces will give you a hard time. Like turn 0 Leyline of the Void is basically game over for this deck. But because most people don't do it, right now it's pretty good. Right now, also, there's not too much like Path to Exiles in the format. There's not too many Anger the Gods. In general, there's not many effects that exile creatures right now. And as long as your creatures can keep on getting recurred, and you can keep on generating value from your graveyard, it's very sweet. Deck right now, like I said, the guy who actually won the event with it, I believe the name was Legion 237 or something, or 273. I actually got a chance to talk to him about the deck, about some of his choices, about how to play the deck, and it's been a very cool learning experience. I played this deck for probably about a week now, just playing different events with it, trying a few different things in the list. My list is not exactly Legion's list, but I would say it's like 2-3 cards off. But I think this deck is very cool. It's something different in Modern. Like I said, this card was unbanned months ago, but it hasn't really seen much play until like this deck. So maybe there is a way to abuse this card. You know, play something powerful that Wizards thought was powerful for the format. But yeah, this is basically the deck. Like I said, with the sideboard, you're just trying to shore up your matchups, like Affinity, any sort of aggressive deck. Abrupt Decay against Twin. Golgari Charm can like kill creatures, can regenerate your team. So this card kind of beats the hate cards because you can regenerate creatures through Anger the Gods. You can also kill Rest in Peace. Sometimes if you want to do that. You know, another Dark Blast against aggressive decks like Affinity, more Murderous Cuts, stuff like that. But yeah, this deck has been pretty sweet so far. We're gonna go into a daily event today. Hopefully, we'll get to play against some of the tier 1 decks and kind of show you how the matchups work. Show you how the deck works in general. A lot of times, this deck kind of feels like it's just goldfishing, as in you're trying to see what turn you can like assemble Dredgevine combos, or what turn you can like produce like more like anglers and stuff like that. Sometimes you don't even need to combo off. I feel like people at first they might look at this deck and they're like, oh, this is a Vengevine deck where you just want to combo, put 4 Vengevines, and then kill them. But there are games where you can just beat them down with an angler or like a Lotless Troll that you can make bigger, or some grave crawlers. It's very interesting the different ways this deck can attack from. But yeah, this deck is pretty sweet. I recommend you guys check out the videos, and if it's something you're interested in, maybe build it for yourself and try it out for this Modern season. And I will see you guys in the daily.